How you doing? This is the guy from Pittsburgh. Well, Jesse Ventura has a video where he rails and rants about don't name your team after a genocide. Well, Jesse Ventura has no idea what he's talking about, folks. There's a post. There's a story that was on CBS in D.C. about an Indian chief, a former Indian chief who's retired, Robert Two Eagles Green. And he was the chief of the 1,300 member Potawatomi tribe back east. And he talked about, how people are offended by the term, but he says he's been a lifelong Redskins fan, and he'd be offended if they took the name away. And he also said that originally the Redskins was a term that the American Indians, or the Native Americans, used to describe themselves. Sitting Bull did it. Another Indian leader did it when they interacted with original white settlers, when they interacted with the Army and the federal government in Washington. That fact has been overlooked or excused by those who seek political correctness and saying that the Redskins name is racist. And he says there's nothing racist about it. The skin of the American Indian, they had a bug repellent made up of animal fat and the dye of the cocoon plant. And when it's crushed, the dye is red, and that's why their skin looked red. No one but this guy has said this anywhere on the internet. Their skin wasn't naturally red, but because people saw their skin being red because they had dyes for their war paint or what have you, their skin looked red. And he doesn't think the name created by George Preston Marshall was offensive. And he says there's nothing offensive about the logo. It's not the full combat headdress. It was never intended to be offensive. And we're too touchy in society. He's absolutely right. If you're going to go after them, you got to go after the Miami Dolphins because the Dolphins are being caged at SeaWorld. You got to go after the San Francisco 49ers because Chinese and other miners had their claims jumped in 1849 when gold was discovered. You got to go after the Denver Broncos because wild horses are being killed by the Bureau of Land Management. You got to go after the Kansas City Chiefs because they got an Indian name. The Chicago Blackhawks, they got your Indian name right there. The New England Patriots because the Patriot Act. Golden State Warriors, can't have no Warriors. The Minnesota Vikings, well, they raped and pillaged. You can't have rapists and rape and pillaging in the NFL. So you got to get rid of that name. Let's see what else here. Baltimore Ravens. Well, the Ravens, are a harbinger of death, and they peck people's eyes out. And they were the Raven of the Poe story. That's ominous. Can't have no Ravens. And the New Orleans Saints, well, all the religious types will say, you're honoring saints. That's not allowed. We can't have saints in a football game. And then I might be offended by that because I don't believe in saints. And, the Chicago Bulls. PETA's going to get involved with that, with castration and all that stuff. And slaughtering bulls for food, so you can't have no Chicago Bulls going on there. You got to remove that name, and it gets on and on and on to the point of being totally ridiculous. No NFL players ever committed genocide that I know of against an American Indian or Native American. No NFL football team has gone out, they hopped on the team bus, went out to the reservation, or they went out to the plains when the NFL was started. And I don't know when the NFL started. Let me look here. 1920 maybe? Hold on. Just give me a minute. Type in NFL history here. And I didn't realize there was a game last night, so I didn't do my picks. I thought it was over. Okay, NFL. 1869. It just went away. Why did it go away? That was strange. It went to gas, buddy. Well, anyway, 1869, they got a game here between Rutgers and somebody. If it stays on the... Rutgers and Princeton. Started out with rugby, then there was rules for American football in 1876, and a competition between two Pittsburgh area teams, the Allegheny Athletic Association and the Pittsburgh Athletic Club, led to making the first professional football player. William Pudge Heffelfinger was paid $500 to play in a game against the Pack. He was the first person paid to play football, and well, there he is. Let me get in there. You can't see him very well, but he's there. And that was in 1892. And they signed a guy in 1893, Grant Debert, the first pro football contract. And they had another guy to play for the Latrobe YMCA, John Brillier, in 1895. And let's see here. Oh, we had here 1899, the Cardinals, the Chicago Cardinals, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Phoenix Cardinals, and then the Arizona Cardinals, the oldest team in the NFL. And then, let's see, they moved the pro game to Ohio in 1903. And it goes on from there. So they've been playing pro football technically since 1892. So you didn't have any pro football before the 1800s. There was no genocide. There wasn't any guys in leather helmets carrying a pigskin and going out there with their knives or their flintlocks or their muskets or their sharps repeaters. They weren't going out and carrying a football and setting up goalposts and see how far they could kick an American Indian or shoot one. There was no genocide by the NFL, so it's a ridiculous thing to say. And Jesse Ventura, do your history, read your history, do your research before you come out with some ridiculous story about the American Indian and how the name of the Redskins is about genocide. All these teams, the Chiefs, the Vikings, the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Broncos, the Saints, the Falcons, the Dolphins, the Patriots, the Redskins, the Ravens, the Blackhawks, the Bulls. They all honor something, either in nature or in our history. The spirit of the Native American, the spirit of the bull, the spirit of the animal, the hawk, I don't know what if there is such thing as a real Seahawk. The dolphin for its intelligence and its ability to interact with mankind. And we've treated the dolphin badly and with harvesting of tuna and other fish. But all these teams honor something. That's why their mascots were picked for the most part. Yeah, there's racism. There's been racism in the NFL. There's been racism in professional sports. But putting an American Indian, a Native American on your helmet is not racism. You have a guy in the stands dressed up as American Indian going woo, 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 and he's not American Indian. That's racism. That should be stopped, and it has been stopped. We've made great progress. But the Redskins fans, and there's a lot of Native Americans in Washington, D.C., Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, the areas surrounding Washington, they love their Redskins, and they don't want the name of the team removed. You got guys that show up in Minnesota that probably never even seen a Redskins game in person. They're telling the team to change their name. And it dwindled down. There are big protests that Jesse Ventura talked about where all these politicians showed up out of self-interest because they knew they had an election in 2 days. That's the only reason they showed up. That thing dwindled to 500 people. You know why it dwindled to 500 people? They went home, watched a football game, and then he gloated how the Vikings beat the Redskins. Or they had tickets to the game and they went to see the game anyway. But it's ridiculous, Jesse Ventura. No NFL player, no NFL team has gone out ever and committed genocide on Native Americans. So don't, and the rest of you protesters, don't come up with this stuff too. It's insane. They commit genocide only in one way. They try to clobber the other team members, get the ball, make touchdowns and field goals, and stop the other team from scoring. But they're not killing each other. They get injured, yeah. But no one on an NFL team deliberately except one guy in history who hit a guy from the New England Patriots and permanently paralyzed him. And I can't remember that guy's name right now. I think he was from Oakland or maybe Pittsburgh. And it's reprehensible. But nobody deliberately goes out to injure a player for life. And a lot of that kind of stuff is stopped too with the changes in the rules. So stop giving it this crap that it's genocide. You got guys that may have gotten a bounty in one state or in several states 200-300 years ago, but no one's going out and searching for Native American scalps in the 20th century, the 21st century, or beyond. It ain't happening. It's not going to happen. And I feel sorry that these people couldn't have worked to do one thing. There was a ballot initiative to give a Native American tribe their own casino, and that went down to defeat. Why weren't they helping this tribe get a casino of their own and to modify the law? They need income. The Native American and the tribes need money because a lot of them are poor and a lot of them are unemployed and they're living in poverty. That's what you should be marching for. Not marching against a stupid symbol and a helmet. That's where your priority. Help your people. And I'm not talking if you're from the Narragansetts or you're from the Algonquins or you're from the Sioux or you're from the Cherokee or the Creek or other tribes. You're still all Native Americans and you should work together like we all should to help each other out when the time of need. And not waste your energy protesting a symbol on a helmet. All right, that's all I got to say about it. I think Jesse Ventura is wrong. Anybody who claims the NFL Redskins have a genocidal symbol is equally wrong. I don't see anybody calling the Kansas City Chiefs genocidal. Not unless they're talking about eating ribs in Kansas City, and I guess Peter would object to that. So it's a ridiculous assertion. It's not supported historically, and these guys, including Ventura, should know better. All right, this is a guy from Pittsburgh. Hello, Justin. Free Art Bell, and I'll catch you next time. Have a good morning. Bye-bye.